Okay, this is our tutorial video on how to do the chiseled rock face edge. This is a real popular edge with stonecoatcountertops.com. You guys asked, how do we do it? And this is how. So watch the video, like and subscribe, tell us what you think, and visit us at stonecoatcountertops.com. Enjoy the video. Mike here with Stonecoat Countertops. Thanks for watching. What we're going to show today is we're going to show exactly how to turn this normal piece of MDF into a chiseled rock face edge that looks like Carrara marble. We've been having some great feedback from our videos, and we had a couple requests from different people of the same thing, and everybody wants to see how we make that edge look like rock, which is really cool. And they also want to see how to make a light piece of a Carrara marble look, which is really popular. We do a lot of that look for our customers, and it's really simple to do. So I'm going to show you how to do that today. But first I want to show you how we prepped our MDF. This is going to be for a vanity, and this vanity is going to go in a customer's house, and the customer has a 36-inch vanity. And so what we did is we cut the piece 39 inches. The reason we cut it 39 is so that it overhangs the counter on each side. It's going to overhang an inch and a half. And so when we have an inch and a half overhang, we do 1-inch drop edges, and that gives me a 1/2 inch reveal under the cabinet for any wiggle room that I may need. So I just cut little strips that were 1 inch wide, and I pin nail them on with a 23 gauge pin nailer, and I just use Titebond 2 wood glue. So that is all we've done to prep this top. Is we cut it to size, we laminated some drop edges, and the reason we laminated drop edge is so that it looks thicker in the front like a normal countertop does. That's how a lot of countertops are fabricated, with a drop edge. So now, how do we do the chiseled edge? First thing we got to do is we need to, like you can see right here where I have worked on this part is sticking out a little bit, this part's sticking out a little bit back here, and it's not perfect. Well, on a chiseled edge, it doesn't need to be perfect, but I like to go ahead and square everything up. And another thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take some imperfection into this top. And what I use to do that is this grinder here. This grinder is just a cheap little grinder, but it has a couple of special parts on it that I found work really good with this process. These pads here, I get these at Home Depot. It's a fiber disc, and it's made for sanding metal. So that metal disc is what really eats up this MDF like great. And so this is what I use, and I use this backer pad. This is a grinder sander conversion kit, and what it does is it makes these pads on your grinder flush so that you don't have a nut sticking out here. And this is what I use in so many different applications of Stone Coat. We use it to get rid of the drips after they've cured, and we use it to go ahead and sand the front of this so that you can't feel the seam when you're doing a routed edge. And now I also use it to go ahead and put some live edge look into this top. So that's what I'm going to use. This is an old one, and they last quite a while. So go ahead and look those up, but these are a great option to do what I'm going to do and show you on this video. Okay, so it does kick up a lot of dust, so you're going to want to wear a mask, and I like to wear ear protection as well. now you can see that I've gotten this all smooth. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of these 90-degree corners. And the way that I do that is I'll push my pad into the corner to create like a clip corner, and then I'll just roll it out to create it kind of round. But again, I'm going to turn this into a chiseled edge, so I'm not looking for perfection here. I'm just looking to create a non-sharp side on this top. So that's what I'm doing right now. And then I'm going to go ahead and put in some decoration and come in so that I have some spots on my chiseled edge that go in and some that go out, and it makes it look more realistic. Okay, so there's your canvas. Now we have a canvas to work with, and it's really that simple. So I've just gone through and done some just natural live edge type strokes with the grinder, and now comes our seal. So MDF, when you work with it, it's really non-porous on the surface, but when you cut the front edges and when you laminate your edges, those are porous, and there's a couple things that you can do to really create a long-term bond, and that's the whole key with doing this process. Is you want to have a bond that's going to be permanent, and so the next step that I do is this product can be found also at Home Depot, and it's a basic polymer. It's a polymer concentrate that is ready to help promote adhesion, and so this is called concrete bonding adhesive. It's mixed with different types of concrete to really make it bond well to vertical surfaces and to create a stronger concrete. But I found that it works really well as a primer on these edges for doing specifically the rock edge. You don't need to use this in other applications of stone coat. This is specifically for the rock edge. So I'm going to show you exactly how easy this is. So actually you want to shake it up. And then I'm just going to pour a little bit out on my top. It doesn't matter if it gets on the top. It's not going to hurt anything. But I just pour a little bit out on the top. and that's what I roll my brush in, or my roller. And this is just a 1/4 inch nap roller. You can use a foam roller, you can use whatever kind of roller you want to use. And this is all I do on the front edge there, is just seal this. And this makes our next step really good. Now I recommend doing this. It's not 100% necessary, but it's definitely going to make your bond that much stronger, and you won't have edges ever fail. So I really recommend doing this. And this, again, it's cheap for a whole gallon of it. You can get it in smaller sizes. But here at Stone Coat, we're not going to sell you things that you can't find at your own hardware store. Every formulated product that we sell and promote can only be found at Stone Coat. So we're going to steer you in the right directions for all your sundries and your products that you can get on your own and save shipping and all that. But this is what we use, is this polymer to create a really good bond. And all I do is one coat on there, and it does not take long to dry at all. Pour a little bit more out there and get a little thin. If you wanted to put this in a paint tray, you could, but that's just one more thing you got to clean. So I just put it right on the surface, and then I'm ready. I'm ready to go. And then just any pool that's left over, you know, just roll it out on the top so that it dries and it doesn't sit there pooled up. And nothing on the surface matters, like I said. So we'll let this dry, and then we'll come on back. It'll be dry in about 10-15 minutes, and then we'll come back and we'll do the next step. So our polymer has dried. It's nice and dry. You don't want it tacky when you do this, so make sure it's dry. And you don't need to sand or anything after that. Just make sure you coat those edges with the polymer. And now we're going to do the actual rock face edge. How do we build this up? And the secret to that is all-purpose putty from Bondo. I tell you, I used to use other products and different concrete products and laugh. This is the cat's meow. This really works well. So the all-purpose putty from Bondo. Also, I get this at Home Depot. Or a really convenient way that I've set up on my website is you can go down below our products on our products page, and you can see all the different products that I personally use to make these countertops for customers. So go on our products page. You can see all the different trowels, the different Bondos, the different adhesives. Sometimes when you're seaming things together. We've made it really simple for you guys. Just go on there. We've set up those links, and a lot of people have Amazon Prime. You'll get it shipped for free. So this is also sold right there on Amazon, so you know you're getting the right product, the same one that we use here in the shop. So the all-purpose putty from Bondo. Now, I just got a piece of scrap wood here, and I'm just going to mix some of this out right onto the wood. This can's almost empty. But I go through a lot of this because this edge is actually really popular. So, also, if you're gonna do this over Formica, your existing Formica countertops, this would be the same product. A lot of times Formica at the seams, it's kind of split apart and it's raised up and that kind of thing. And I'll show videos on this. But when you have a seam that's messed up in Formica, you chip out anything that's loose. And then you use this same product to fill in the seams. You can use that bonding adhesive and then this product, and that's how you can repair Formica before you go on top of it with Stone Coat. This is just a real versatile product. I love it. It dries quickly, and it's very consistent. So I'm just kind of eyeballing how much I'm going to use. You know, don't be afraid about mixing up a little bit too much, because anything extra, I just build the edges out and make it look even more realistic. So now I got some of that out on my board, and I'm using the hardener that comes with the product. And all I do is just, you want about 2% hardener per glob, but you know, there you go. It's not rocket science. You squirt some hardener in there, and the more hardener, the faster it's going to set up. So keep that in mind. But what's really important is you need to mix this really well. You don't want to leave spots that aren't mixed, because they'll never dry. So I just use a little spatula that you can get for doing Bondo applications. It's made for automotive repair. But these spatulas, you get them super cheap all over the place. But I'll also put up a link on our site for spatulas for doing the Bondo work. So I just take that same spatula and I just roll the material on itself over and over again. It doesn't take that long to mix it, but you want to make sure it's all mixed really well. And right here, like this stuff wants to stick on that spatula, so you can just take this and scoop it off to make sure everything gets properly mixed. And again, same with our stone coat. You want to make sure you mix the stone coat well, how we've showed in how to mix video. So, you know, if you use these products as they're intended, man, they come out super consistent, and you can expect the results. It's not a guessing game. So I'm going to just go ahead and mix this up, and then I'll show you just how simple this rock face edge really is. And I may need a little bit more material than this, but this will go quite a ways. You don't need a lot, but I like to put some globs of it on there because it looks like the rock's protruding out. And it really, my customers, when they see this edge, it blows their mind that this was a piece of MDF. They just don't understand how the magic happens, and the magic is revealed here in this video. So, about mixed up here. Get rid of this because this has material on it that's not mixed. Now, I'll get in here. I like to get my spatula somewhat clean and leave it on the front edge. And the whole purpose now is just getting it to stick to my edge, because at first it kind of wants to roll off, so you got to kind of work it into that edge and make sure it doesn't want to come off. But that's also what the bonding agent is used for, that polymer. It will make this bond very, very well. It's going to feel like it's going to roll off at first. Don't let that alarm you. Once this stuff sets up, it's not coming off. It sets up very, very strong. So you can see I'm not really concerned how it looks at this point at all. What I'm doing right now is I'm just spreading it on the front and making sure that it's pushed tight to the front. I don't want it to be barely hanging on. I'm just pushing it tight and working around the face. You can see how fast this goes. You know, this is a small vanity top, but a big island and things like that, they don't take very long to do this edge. The ways that I used to do them and that we evolved from, boy, this is so much easier. And I really, really like this edge. And this is a premium edge. We charge a little bit more to do this for customers. It's a little bit more work for us, but it's a premium edge. So if you're doing this in your own home, you know, keep that in mind, that it's cool. But if you are doing this as a business, I would charge a little bit more for this edge, just because it's unique and it takes some time, and it really adds to the top. It makes your tops just really unique. People don't get this look very often in natural stone because they have to pay a lot for it. Okay, I almost got it covered, and you can see I'm putting it on pretty sloppy. But now what I'm going to do, now that I have a coat on here, I'm just going to run through and add material to this. And I don't really care at this point how it looks. I'm just going to add it and kind of go over it like this, leave it rough. You actually want it kind of rough looking, because that makes it look more realistic when it dries. And don't worry, you'll see how I make it look perfect when we're done. You can see what I'm doing to that edge. I'm going to scoop up. Yep, I mixed the right amount. So I'm just adding some strokes to this, just pulling it out. Like right here, I don't like how it's super smooth, so you can just touch it, pull it out a little bit, move it around. Just anything that's a natural movement. Come over here, I'll do the same thing. Now this is already starting to set up, so it's starting to gel, so I'll just go ahead and scrape that top off. Makes my sanding a little easier. I got this big chunk on here, so heck, why not use it? Just add it, scrape the bottom. Put some right there. And you can see it doesn't take artistic ability to put this on. It's just on pretty rough. Goes in and out pretty cool. I like that. All right, very cool. And what's really neat about this product as well is that just like natural stone, no two pieces are ever going to be the same. So now, what we're going to do is we're going to let this set up. This sets up in about 20 minutes. We'll let it set up, and then I'm going to come back with my sander, and I'm just going to sand the rough spots out and get rid of stuff that I don't like. Sand what so that I want this so when you rub your hand on it, it's not rough and it's not sharp. It'll look really rough and rustic, but then you rub your hand on it, you're like, wow, it's almost therapeutic. You know, it's really cool how it feels. And people, especially my customers, they see with their eyes and they see with their hands. And so people want to rub their hands on the top, they rub their hands on the surface, on the edges, and they really like the way that this feels. It's an organic look and feel, and it's brought us a lot of success in our personal business, and we're transferring that on to you guys that are making this your business. So we appreciate that. We're going to let this dry, and we'll come back and we'll sand it up for you. So I let the material really dry on the spatula. It's actually easiest to clean when you let a good amount of it dry. If you scrape most of it off, it's actually harder, but I'll let it dry, and then when it dries, you just flex your spatula back and forth, and it cracks right off. And you're good to go. Another thing, you know, when you have a mixing board, you can clean that mixing board so that you can reuse it if you so choose. And then wear gloves when you're doing this, because you're going to get a sticky mess on your hands if you don't. Wear your gloves, and that's it. So let's let this dry. We'll come back and show you how the next steps work. All right, so we've let this set up. You want to make sure that when you let the edges set up, they're nice and hard. You don't want to start a little too soon with your sanding, because it'll be a little gummy, it'll gum up your pads. The way that I can find out that it's ready is by that spatula that I used. I will just kind of break that. You see how it starts to crack off, and then the pieces peel off in nice big chunks. And so that's how I kind of test, okay, it's ready. And this here, it's still a little bit soft, but when you are concerned about how long to wait longer is better. You know, don't rush but we waited about 20 minutes here, and it's still a little bit sticky, but we'll see how it sands up for us. I like to wear a respirator when I'm sanding this all-purpose Bondo. You don't want to breathe in the dust from it. So all I'm looking for when I sand is I'm going to be looking for the high spots that I don't particularly like, and I'll smooth those out. I'll look for the little sharp spots that are kind of sharp on my hands right now, and I'm just going to address all those and then stop when I like it. Don't go too far, or else you got to add more to give more character. So stop when you like it and feel it with your hands so that you can see what your customers will be feeling. This is a 150 grit sandpaper on my 5-inch random orbital sander. I really recommend getting a 5-inch random orbital if you're going to be doing a lot of stone coat. It's a must-have. so there you go. Now I can rub my hands on this and it's really smooth. And when you put the resin, the stone coat resin, and coat the table, it even makes it that much more smooth. But you can see that I left the detail that I like. This really looks natural, and some of those voids look natural. And I've made it smooth. Where I really chopped it in here, I back cut it. So this is the look that I go for when I'm doing that natural rock face edge. I like to leave some of that character, but I really see it with my hands and feel it and make sure there's nothing that's going to tear some nylons or something like that when you're walking by the top, and you want to make it nice and smooth for the customer, but you want it to look natural. So there we go. Now our next step comes, you saw me take that sander and I really sanded the top to where when the edges meet, I roll that surface, and also underneath. You want to roll that surface just a little so that when we pour the stone coat, it flows and it follows that surface. That's really important because it makes the material just look more natural, and it flows better, and it doesn't create like a ridge where your rock face meets your top. You don't want to leave chunks of the Bondo on the top of your countertop. So now comes for our base. So that's how you do the rock face edge. Now comes time for the stone coat, color coats, and the decorative part. Now, in order to do that, you can watch our next video and see how we're going to turn this particular rock face edge into a Carrara marble look. But you can basically turn this into any look that you're looking for. So any color that you want to do a rock face edge on, it's totally doable. But go ahead and watch our next video on Carrara marble, and you'll see how we take this MDF canvas and turn it into Carrara marble. Thanks for watching.